We love bringing women who are doing great things. I think last week we also had an amazing woman here. Tell us about your journey. A lot of people see this, all the stuff you've done, and they're thinking, okay, how is it that one person can be ambassador to 2 different countries at different times, and you still were able to be commissioner of women affairs in Ogun State at some point? Tell us about that journey. How did it come about?
Well, I like the word journey because life in itself is a journey.
Right.
And it's been interesting, it's been difficult, it's been everything you expect it to be because life is one long journey. Where did it start? It started from Ibadan because I was born and raised in Ibadan. And I had all of my education in Ibadan. But before we go into that, I'd like to tell you that I'm proudly Nigerian. I've had all of my education here.
So let's go to the very beginning of what I would consider your first public service.
Yes.
Which is, of course, as sole administrator to the Gateway Hotels.
Yes.
As the pioneer of business and tourism in Ogun State, how did you organize that business to encourage tourism in Ogun State, for instance? How did it go?
I think it's the Gateway Hotels that made me the most famous. Because when I got there, the hotels were down. They were government properties and people just took them for granted.
What year was this?
That must have been 2003. And they took them for granted and they were down. So it was my responsibility to revamp all 3, which I think I did successfully. But it wasn't with a lot of, it wasn't smooth. Of course, when you're dealing with government property, it was with a lot of resistance. It was with a lot of, I became quite famous because I made headlines of Tribune. I was in the news every day for one reason or the other, you know. Because I had to sack 33 managers in one day. Wow. You can imagine 3 hotels. You can imagine, thank you, 3 hotels having 33 managers. Government. 3 hotels having 33 managers. Yeah. So of course they took me to a tribunal.
For feeding, manager for eating, manager for sleeping.
And I successfully revamped them, but it wasn't easy.
Right.
It wasn't.
So, I mean, you have an impressive CV.
Thank you.
But one that really caught my attention is you're a commissioner for women affairs and social welfare.
Yes,
and sometimes that particular ministry, even at the federal level, when people sort of turn their nose up at it, like, what exactly did they do?
Exactly.
They're talking women affairs.
Exactly.
I would like to know what it was that you did at the state level and what you think of what it is today.
Okay, you see, the first thing, because there are young people here, that I'd like you to know is you can be all you want to be. They can give you a seed and you can turn it into a tree. They can give you a seed and you can throw it away. They can give you a seed and you can choose to put it in a glass and decorate your window. It depends on who is occupying a particular position. It's true that if you don't decide what you want to be with women affairs for me and social welfare is the busiest, and I'll tell you why. The first thing we did, I don't like to say I, because my ministry, my group, my governor, and all of us, the first thing we did then was to ensure that all children and the aged from 60 and above got free treatment. And pregnant women, they got free treatment in government hospitals in Ogun State. That's one. Secondly, it was about that time that the Child's Rights Act was promulgated. Yes. What we did in my ministry was to translate it from English into Yoruba and Egu. I think we're the only person who has ever done that. I have the copies with me still. So that we're not just talking to educated people. We spoke to the grassroots. Yes. The people in Yewa, the people in Ogun State, and of course...
Who was the governor at the time?
Benga Daniel.
How come we didn't get to hear all this?
We have it. And then we picked up all the challenged people, whether you were crippled, whether you had mental issues. We paid to have them in Arrow for the people in mental issue. I even still have a problem. Some of them still stalk me till today. They still call me. And surprisingly, some of them are healed. We picked up children. We revamped the children's home. We rebuilt it, renamed it Stella Obasanjo's Children's Home. So we did a lot of adoption,
right.
And then we also had the social angle where some people who didn't have a job where we gave challenged people, physically challenged, we made it a policy that every ministry must employ at least one physically challenged person. So it depends on what the ministry. The Ministry of Women Affairs should be the busiest.
There's a lot of work to be
because
done.
I just don't want to spend the whole time telling you what the ministry should do. It is the busiest. Every single day, if you have an open door policy, people will come with different issues. There's battering, there's rape, there's adoption that has gone wrong. It's a very busy ministry.
The Ministry of Women and Social Affairs also concerns, it deals with issues of adoption.
Yes, we do.
I know the bottlenecks that this, adopting a child gives. Sometime in the past, a friend of mine wanted, and he said until 2 years, you can't even fulfill the requirements. They'll investigate. What did you do in your time to make it easy and quick?
Okay, I'll tell you 2 things I did. The first thing is we looked at it again. We looked at the law, but it's very tough to change a law. But you can bend the law. I bent the law most times. And what I did, was, in my time, initially we were able to pick up a lot of babies. And I would look for my friends who didn't have children and encourage them to come. And instead of leaving the children, because sometimes government can't afford to feed all of these children, I will use my position to say, look, go and help me look after that baby while we do the papers. Or the baby might end up with somebody else, but at least the baby is not starving in the baby's home. That's one. Secondly, what you call a bottleneck, I can write a book on what goes on with adoption. It's investigation. And then all of a sudden, in our time, we let people realize that adoption is not a big deal. I have adopted children. I have a set of twins that I adopted when I was commissioner. They're 10. And they live with me, they bear my name, they're mine. But you see, with adoption, because you don't have blood relationship with the children, we have to be careful to be sure that men don't begin to sleep with their adopted daughters, and even adopted children don't end up marrying their adopted parents. So it shouldn't take 2 years. Ours didn't. But the process is long, because international adoption can take a year. And I'm proud to say that a lot of foreigners come here and adopt children that nobody will touch.
But then how do you follow up? Because
No, with adoption, you see, there's got to...
Easy. Sorry, those ones find it easy, because I've seen a couple that took a baby. I met them in December. They just came. They were here for a few days, took the baby, and they went back to Holland. Do they find it easy? No,
you should challenge that. That's what you saw. You don't know what they have done behind the scenes. Because you can't take a baby out without documentation. They have to go to court. They have to investigate them. Their country has to agree. A lot of things go on.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about your experience as an ambassador. That's another
very sweet.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you.